I've had a few discussions of late about the word disability. In the traditional sense of the word, I have never felt disabled. I don't know if disability is the word that we can use.
That regardless of what it is that doesn't allow you equal access to the world just has to disappear. If that's human nature, if it's economics, if it's politics, if it's the built environment. And to me that's the fight, that's the cause, making sure that everybody can access the things that they want to access.
My name is Dinesh. I am a researcher at Griffith and I'm a doctor in the emergency department at the Gold Coast University Hospital. In 2008 I started medical school, which was amazing. I love medicine, I love being a doctor. I feel at home. But medical school was punctuated by a car accident that caused a spinal cord injury and I lost function, what I hope is temporarily, below my chest and in my fingers.
What Dinesh is really the every person. That he has a lived experience that we've only just come to, and that is the need to achieve something, the need to go beyond the physicality of his body as it currently is, and for the world to be able to offer that to him. He galvanises by giving them the cause, by making them see the reality, the need for that to become real, and then bring them together to be able to think in ways that they've never been able to think before, using technology to overcome some of the issues and using real-time information to be able to achieve it.
So some of my colleagues are working with amazing technologies and I can bridge that gap into a clinical world and into a community setting, and we can bring everyone together so people can see things differently.
Because virtual reality is I guess, an ultimate perception altering tool. So in this virtual world, you can become something different. You can be transported to a place that you've never been before. We can create illusions. We can do all sorts of things to manipulate what the body is perceived.
You know, it's one of these strange things that every one of us feels pain. But if we're asked, what does that pain feel like? How bad is it? The best we have is this anecdotal thing of saying between 1 and 10, my pain is really, really bad. And that is so individual, it's not an empirical measurement. It makes it really hard for medical practitioners to understand what's going on. Through augmented reality and virtual reality, we're finding ways to empirically measure pain so that we can then provide really great treatments.
One thing I'm investigating is whether we can target body image, so people's perceptions, say, of how strong or how vulnerable they are. You can imagine if we view pain as an alarm system that's triggered by the brain thinking the body needs protected, then how the brain thinks about the body is going to be really important to whether the brain thinks you need pain as a protective response. So say, for example, someone's had lower back pain for a long time, they feel very weak and vulnerable. We can give them a superhero-looking body and start to manipulate their perceptions of how strong and vulnerable they are. And we're investigating whether changing that perception can then change people's pain.
There hasn't really been a single day where I've thought about how to walk again. And there's been a lot of science and technology, especially over the last 10 years. When I first had the accident, actually, the science was very sparse, but over the last few, it's really, really picked up. And for the first time in history, we've seen people move their limbs again after chronic paralysis. What we're doing is putting all that together. We're making it more precise using a digital twin. We're looking at how to optimally apply electrical stimulation. We're looking at the changes very closely. We're measuring as many things as possible to see where the changes are happening. And we're building on that science to make it better. We're using drug therapy, electrical stimulation, and thought-controlled rehab to hopefully increase function in spinal cord injury.
Currently, we know the move from research happening in, say, university, being published, research is often developed in isolation and not in those real-world contexts, that I think co-designing interventions and working together will lead to rapid translation of new technologies and new findings. Moving forward, it's valuable that research is not just about researchers doing things that are niche, that only concern their particular preferences, priorities, values and goals. What we need to do is understand what is important for the community. So that includes our partners, it includes people with lived experience, so that then we are setting up goals for research that are seen as valuable and important for society and for those who live with particular conditions we may be working with.
Not that our researchers didn't get it, but the broader community didn't get it. That what we thought about was that, it's up to them, it's up to the researchers or up to somebody else or the government to fund it. We could always point the finger and say they were the reason it couldn't happen, or they were the only reason it might happen if they get around to it. We now know that there has to be a community. The old adage of it takes a community to raise a child, that's really what we're talking about here. The only way we can make it happen is if we all get together and want it to happen.
I had a very interesting chat with a senior doctor once, who was talking to me about working in their department. And they said that I have so many concerns about you working in my department because you probably can't even type. But I can actually type pretty fast. And I can use voice recognition, I can do all these things. These technologies not only bridge physical gaps, but it also makes things more precise and quick. Talking into a microphone and having a computer type for you is way quicker than typing it yourself. There are even digital stethoscopes and all sorts of things that can make your job more accurate. So I think if we start to embrace this stuff, we not only enable humans to be more precise, but we bridge physical gaps. And I think that's an idea that we need to start embracing.